Hello, and welcome to Arete Unboxing number 2. I just unboxed the numbered edition of The Case of Death and Honey, which I uploaded yesterday. And now today we are going to look at the fine edition of that same title, as well as the fine edition of The Creeping Man by Arthur Conan Doyle. So, you're probably wondering, why The Creeping Man? Obviously Arthur Conan Doyle makes sense, because it's a Sherlock Holmes short story written by Neil Gaiman for the Death of Milk and Honey. Death of Milk and Honey. The Case of Death and Honey. There we go. Shout out to John Lennon. Oh my God. Words are tough. Words are tough. And John Lennon, I suppose. John Legend and John Lennon. All of the Johns. I'm so blown away from the numbered edition that I can't speak now for the fine edition. So The Creeping Man is a Arthur Conan Doyle short story. I am getting this sticky glue all over my hands, all over my thumbs. This is not working out for me. And it's mentioned, it's referenced in The Case of Death and Honey, which is why they did a fine edition of that. So the Case of Death and Honey is 80 pages with lots of gorgeous illustrations from Gary Gianni, whereas The Creeping Man is even shorter. I believe this volume is only 40 pages. Both of these fine editions were limited to 500 copies, and they're both still available. Once again, wrapped in paper. They're available. You need to buy them individually, but there is a slipcase available that was for each individual title, or as I purchased here, a slipcase for both. A very nice cloth slipcase. So we have The Adventure of the Creeping Man by Arthur Conan Doyle and The Case of Death and Honey by Neil Gaiman and Gary Gianni. And are they different stamping, or is that just my light? It looks like The Creeping Man is gold and The Case of Death and Honey might be like silver. But anyways, let's dive in. Oh, and the slipcase on this side says both as well. Very nice. Apologize for the delay on getting started there. They secure the hell out of those packages. So up front we have The Adventure of the Creeping Man? The Adventure of the Creeping Man by Arthur Conan Doyle. Like I said, limited to 500 copies. Presumably these are both numbered. They are. This is 241 of 500, signed by Gary Gianni. Now, this is also letterpress. Yes, also letterpress indeed. It also has illustrations by Gary Gianni, although not quite as illustrated, from my understanding. So The Adventure of the Creeping Man, involves a gentleman, once again, large margins. A gentleman goes overseas, or goes across the country, across Europe, on an adventure, and he comes back a changed man. And it's his ward, or his assistant, who basically comes to Holmes and Watson and says, hey, my friend here is a changed man. Even his dog has been attacking him, and he's been seen outside the second-story window, and there is no ladder to get up there. See, look at that. It's creepy as hell. And so they dive right in. And, oh, there's the Creeping Man again. Look at him. Like a monkey, one might say. And, so Holmes and Watson dive right in. And that story is recalled within a letter that Sherlock Holmes writes within The Case of Death and Honey. So that is how it fits in. Very gorgeous gold stamping on the cover. Very nice. It has it too on The Creeping Man, but it's more of like small details, like the face. Whereas Case of Death and Honey, you get like, bam, face full of gold stamping. Now, I did show off the numbered edition in the previous video. Oh, look at the end papers. Look at those. That's cool. And the innards should pretty much be the same. I don't know if it's printed. Oh, it is printed in 2 colors. There we go. Gary Gianni's beautiful, beautiful signature. What a work of art. And it should contain all of the illustrations. This is not a Z-Clay tipped-in print like it is in the numbered edition. It's just printed on a page. But within the novel, you're going to have chock full of illustrations. Look at all of those. So I gave a brief description in the previous video, brief description here. Sherlock tells 2 stories, interconnected and woven together. One is the story of Sherlock Holmes and his brother Mycroft Holmes. Mycroft's on his deathbed, and they're discussing life, which leads, discussing death, I should say, which leads Sherlock down the route of the secrets of life, or the secrets of death. And the other story is of Gao, a Chinese beekeeper with bees black as bullets, and this strange barbarian, as he calls him, who comes to seek out the bees. And it's a very nice story. It's written in a very Neil Gaiman-esque way, his beautiful description. The story itself can be found within Trigger Warning, the collection by Neil Gaiman, which the audiobook, can't show you that one again, is read by Neil Gaiman himself. But copies of these fine editions, look at those, are still available, of both of them. I believe there are significantly fewer copies of Death and Honey than there are the Creeping Man. Last I looked, there were a bunch of Creeping Man left. Probably because they're about the same price, and you're getting 80 pages versus 40 pages, one of which being a public domain story. So I know some people are like, wow, I don't pay money for that. Well, the reason you want to pay money for that is because you want to supplement the Death and Honey. Copies are available of both, including slipcases for both. I'm talking slipcases that are double, like this, or slipcases that are for just these single titles, because you can buy single title slipcases. I know a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, it could have been upwards of 250, who had purchased the numbered, wanted to get the Creeping Man as well. Because you do not get the Creeping Man with the numbered, you got to buy the fine edition separately. Me, I'm a sucker for small presses, and I'm a sucker for Neil Gaiman, so I bought both. Folks who bought the artist edition, or what would be the lettered edition, I suppose, actually got both copies in it. I believe both of those are very fine printed, but that is way outside my budget. But anyways, check out Arete Editions. They have just published this gorgeous, gorgeous volume. They're following it up with Words of Fire, which is a collection of poetry by Neil Gaiman, as well as a fine press edition of Who Goes There, the Campbell novella that inspired The Thing. But copies of these fine editions are still available. Check out my other video where I unbox the numbered edition, and please consider liking and subscribing, as it helps greatly, and you can watch more of these unboxings. Thank you guys very much for your time, and we'll see you around next time.